This is Keith Sports News, KSN. Hey now! Hello. Yeah. Welcome back, that's right, to KSN, episode 117. That's right, a special Saturday edition. Yeah. It's been 3 weeks. I know, it's been 3 weeks. This is like the longest I've gone without making or releasing an episode. You're familiar with this music, right? You know why I'm playing this music. Yes, because of the Classic Super Sluggers tournament on both Keith Sports News and Eric Super Magnificent. And that is the reason why it's been 3 weeks since the last episode. It's been 3 weeks. I know. Sorry for being gone that long, but you guys understand why it's been a while. I just can't believe it's been 3 weeks already. Like, wow. So, yeah, I'm sure you guys know why it's been 3 weeks, you know. Yeah. I guess it's great to be back. So yeah, there is a lot to talk about. Luckily, I can take my sweet time because it is a Saturday. Yeah. I was going to do this on Friday, but I said to myself, you know what? I'm probably not going to have the time, or I'm not going to have all the time that I want for this episode, and plus I'm kind of tired. I was kind of tired. So I'm like, all right, let's do a special Saturday edition. So, yeah. Oh, look at the shirt that I'm wearing. Yes, 1978 All-Star League. I think I got this at Old Navy. Maybe I should watch the 1978 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Back when the All-Star Game was really good, I heard. Yeah. Unlike now. I mean, it's still pretty good now, but not like the old days. So, yeah. So the reason why I did this tournament, Classic Super Sluggers, is because of the World Baseball Classic succession. It was a big success, and that just made me want to do my own tournament, and that's what I did. And I know I probably picked a very busy time in sports to do this tournament, but the thing is, yes, I know spring has just begun, but when we get to summer, there's going to be more and more sporting events. So I rather do it. I said to myself, okay, well, I'd rather do this now instead of later in the year, like later in the summer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And obviously, I didn't want to do this during the World Baseball Classic. You know. So, and that was my first time doing something like this. All right. So if you want to know my full story on Classic Super Sluggers, on how I did it, how I set it up, and all that stuff, if you want more details, go listen to the latest episode of Eric's Top News on Eric Super Magnificent. Okay? Yeah. So, this episode is me talking about what I missed in sports, because during the Classic Super Sluggers tournament, I barely watched sports because it was a lot of work, a lot of time for the tournament. It took a lot of time and work on the games on both channels. So yeah, gaming content. Got a little gaming content on the Sports Talk channel because the game is a sporting related baseball, So yeah, so there you go. But for those of you that enjoyed that tournament, thank you so much. Did I enjoy doing it? Yes, but I didn't thought it would take this amount of time. So if I do this again, it's not going to be during... I think it'll have to be before the spring season, like the World Baseball Classic, because that was in late winter, right before spring began. So, yeah. Yeah, so anyways, it's great to be back. Can't believe it's been 3 weeks. But yeah, I gotta be honest, during the tournament, I didn't watch much sports. Because like I said, it took a lot of time to work on the games. About 25 games total in a span of 8 days. Or 9. A little over a week. That's a lot. Okay? But again, this was my first time doing something like this. There is a playlist of all the games on Eric Super Magnificent in order. Alright? Okay, so... yeah, so like I said, I didn't watch much sports. Yeah, I know, that's the weird thing. I did this tournament during a busy time of the year. So, here we go. What did I miss? What did I miss? Actually, hang on a second. This should be... Alright. So what did I miss in sports? Alright. So it's been 3 weeks. I think yesterday marked 3 weeks. Yeah, it was a couple of days after the World Baseball Classic ended, and it was the beginning of March Madness. Okay, so during the tournament, what did I miss? The Classic Super Sluggers tournament, what did I miss in sports? A lot of March Madness. That was the biggest thing in sports. The weekend after, towards the end of March, was the beginning of Major League Baseball and the United Football League. Okay? And March Madness has just ended last Monday. And now the big thing happening in sports is the Masters golf tournament. But I'm not a golf fan, so I'm probably not going to tune in. Yeah. So, all I know is that Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are in the Masters for the first time since 1994. That just shows you those are like two of the biggest golf stars in history, or at least this century, Yes, I do know what happened to Tiger Woods, so I don't do I want to talk about it? No, not really. It's kind of ridiculous, for a legendary sports icon like him, he does this stuff. I know. It's a shame. It's a damn shame. Alright, so those are the big sports that I missed. Alright. Let's see. Trying to think here. I know I made a list of things that I want to talk about. Gotta get used to this. Oh, by the way, because I missed 3 weeks, I'm going to make it up to you guys. I'm going to do this more often because I didn't do one for 3 weeks. So I'll be back on Monday in 2 days, then Wednesday, 2 days after that, and then Friday, 2 days after that. So 3 episodes next week, every 2 days next week. So that's what, 4 episodes and 6. So you got Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that's like 4 episodes in 6 days. Yeah, just about. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, if you listen to a lot of the episodes, I almost said all, but I know you are listening, 5Tayer, because you are my biggest subscriber, so thank you very much. It would be cool if you can do your own podcast, but maybe in the future. But you and I should do an episode together. Special edition of KSN. Instead of, I don't know. We can try something like that whenever I feel like it, and then I'll let you know. So, yeah. So, crap. What was I saying? Shoot. Don't you hate that when you're about to say something, it just completely erased in your mind, and you're like, damn, I can't remember. But anyways, I miss quite a lot. But it is what it is. Yeah. So, guess we'll go back 3 weeks ago. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about. Yeah. Here's what, or later in this episode, there is a lot to talk about. So, later in this episode, I'm going to talk about the beginning of MLB and UFL seasons. Okay. Then I'm going to give you my MLB division predictions like I did last year. Even though I'm late to this, but better late than never. And the season kind of just started. Alright. And then I'm going to talk about the UFL's new teams and rules. And then March Madness. And then one of my friends was here. And I'm going to show you some clips of his reaction to these crazy March Madness endings. Yeah, I have seen some highlights of March Madness crazy game endings. That's really the only thing I watched. Well, yeah, because I didn't watch much during the Classic Super Sluggers tournament. So yeah, all right. What else did I miss? I think that's it. Oh, and even though I didn't watch much sports over the past couple of weeks, I got back into listening to my favorite sports podcasts. Because I don't know if you remember, last month I kind of took a break in general of listening to sports podcasts. It was mainly during the Winter Olympics. I don't know. I my mind was like, I just need a break from listening to sports podcasts. I know the big thing was the Olympics back then, but not. I just had a feeling that not many of my favorite sports podcasts were going to talk about the Winter Olympics. They were more. I think they were talking more about the NBA, and I'm not an NBA fan, so. So then I got into listening to music because, I have Sirius XM, Amazon Music. I just listen to a whole bunch of old rock and roll bands. And I'm glad I did that because I feel like that was the right time to do it, to do something like that anyways. But now there's a lot going on in sports. That's why recently maybe not, well, I wouldn't say recently, but like the past 3 weeks or so, I got back into listening to my sports podcasts because, World Baseball Classic was coming to an end. MLB's season was approaching at the time. March Madness was approaching at the time. So there you go. And this is going to sound weird on what I'm about to say. Because remember, I have SiriusXM, Amazon Music. You can listen to old episodes from like a couple of weeks ago. Now, on SiriusXM, certain shows, the episodes will expire. Okay? So one of them is called, you guys know I have a lot of my favorite sports talk podcasts. All right? And once in a while, I'll add a new one to my list. Okay? One of my favorites is Shine on Sports with Adam Shine. Adam Shine, he's from CBS. He's mainly an NFL guy, so he does talk a lot about the NFL, but he talks a lot about the other big sporting events, all right? And he's got a great voice. He's been doing his podcast for like over 20 plus years. Well, anyways, his episodes will expire 1 week after they're released. Why? I don't know. Then you got other shows, 2 other shows, such as the Leadoff Spot, which that is one of the recent shows that I added to my list. It's basically a MLB show because it's on MLB Network Radio. This one, it has Steve Phillips, Eduardo Perez from ESPN, and Xavier Scruggs. That is a great MLB podcast, okay? And their episodes would expire 2 weeks after they were released. Yeah. So I remember like, oh my gosh, I'm listening to an episode that is going to expire. Yeah. Yeah, I took a break. I took a break for a while. I think I took a break for almost a month of listening to sports talk podcasts. And then you got another show that's like that their episodes will expire 2 weeks after their releases. Mad Dog Unleashed with Christopher Russo. In my opinion, the most entertaining sports talk podcast. Yeah, I think he's my number one. I think that's my number one favorite because he doesn't always talk about NFL, and NBA, MLB. He spreads them out. That's what I like about him. It's not always the same thing, Well, sometimes during certain times of the year, it can be the same thing. All right, but it won't be the same thing for like a whole week. Like, when NFL season begins, certain shows like Adam Shine, pretty much the whole week will be NFL talk. Because, by the time we get to by the time NFL begins, that's when MLB's approaching the end of their regular season. And I'm like, okay, I get it. NFL has begun, but you're not going to talk about what's going on in Major League Baseball? The postseason's approaching. Hello? You see what I'm saying? See, this is the problem with MLB, is that their season, it's in the middle of a lot of other sporting events. But maybe that's why they play 162 games. So that way, you have plenty of games that you can watch. You don't have to watch all 162 games. Let me say this, if any of you watched your favorite teams all 162 games, then that means clearly MLB is your number one favorite sports league. It's not even close. That's a lot of damn games. But they play almost every night. It's a grind in 6 months, But again, during MLB season, there's always other sporting events going on. What's going on right now during MLB's season? Well, UFL, even though no one really talks about the UFL, sadly, but I talk about it because I like the UFL, alright? And I watch it. So that's going on. The Masters, the biggest golf tournament, even though I don't watch golf, but I just know that it's the biggest golf tournament of the year, and they usually have it the weekend after March Madness is over. The second weekend in April, basically. All right. What else is going on? MLB or NBA and NHL, they are wrapping up their regular season. Okay. I think that's about it. Tennis, I think they're now in the clay court season. Yeah, I think they're in Rome, Italy. Because there was a podcast that I listened to called Holding Court with Patrick McEnroe. That's like the only time I'll listen to tennis talk. But that's like the best 1 hour sports talk podcast. And to me, it's my favorite 1 hour sports talk podcast because it's only on once a week. Every Saturday morning. So, yeah. I think that's it for the big sporting events. So that's a lot. That is a lot, you know. And then summer, there's going to be more. There's going to be more going on, you know. Because during the winter, there's not much happening. And you got NBA and NHL and college basketball. That's about it. I mean, well, we had the Winter Olympics. Yes, that was awesome, very entertaining. I love the Olympics, but that's every 4 years. You know? So, I'd say February is probably a quiet time. The quietest year in the sports calendar, other than the Super Bowl. Yeah, but that's about it. All right. But hey, this year is like the biggest year in international sports. We had the Winter Olympics. Not too long after was the World Baseball Classic, and then later in the summer, the World Cup. So yeah, there's going to be a lot going on. And I did say that I'll keep doing this podcast until at least after the World Cup. After the World Cup, I'll decide if I still want to do this or not. So, when does the World Cup end? I think in 3 months, or like mid-July. So I have a little over 3 months left. I don't know how many episodes I'll do. So, yeah. Anyways, do I still like doing these episodes? Yeah, but I gotta be honest, sometimes I don't feel like doing episodes. Like Eric's Top News, that's every 2 weeks, you know? That's every 2 weeks. This is like twice a week. Because there's a lot to talk about. Now, there are podcasts where they only talk about one sport. You know, that's why there's MLB podcasts. There's NFL podcasts. There's NBA podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Even NASCAR. You know NASCAR? There's a SiriusXM NASCAR channel. If you're into NASCAR and if you have SiriusXM, you must listen to some of the NASCAR podcasts. There you go. Hey, we all have our favorites. So you guys get it now. You guys get the picture. All right. So, I guess we'll move on. All right. But yeah, again, during the Classic Super Sluggers tournament, I wasn't watching much sports. However, I was listening to these podcasts. But here's the weird thing: I'm like a week behind. Yeah, I know. I'm listening to episodes from like a week ago because I have a lot of my favorites. I know. It is what it is. Guess that's what happens when you take a long break from listening to sports. Oh well. Like I'm just now hearing my favorite sports talk podcasts talk about the Final Four. The Final Four was a week ago. Oh well. Yeah, I know. I'm weird. I'm weird for this, but it is what it is. I know there's probably not many people that are doing what I'm doing. Listening to podcasts from a week ago. Oh well. Better than nothing. Better late than never, as they say. Okay, now we can move on. So. Alright. Oops. Alright, so there you go. Remember last year's KSN episodes? I didn't add any text at the bottom left. I figured this is a good idea to do. So, alright. So MLB and UFL seasons are underway. The UFL, I have not watched any of their games so far because, again, the Classic Super Sluggers. However, I still have YouTube TV, and I recorded all of their games, and I still haven't watched any of them yet. I know. Will I watch all of the recorded games? Probably not, because that'll take a lot of time. But I know they have a YouTube channel of highlights, which is great. I'll watch the first one, the first UFL game of the season, which I think Louisville was the home team. Yeah, one of their new teams. And I know it was on Fox, so I'll watch that. But yeah, at some point I don't want to be behind during the whole UFL season, you know what I'm saying? Because I want, during the UFL championship game, I want to watch that live. Even though last year's it was during a Stanley Cup final game, which is absolutely stupid. That might happen again. Wait, no. Actually, wait, that can't happen again because ABC and TNT, they'll alternate for the Stanley Cup final. Last year, the Stanley Cup final was on TNT. This year, it'll be on ABC. And I heard that, I think you told me this, 5-Tear. I think the UFL championship game is going to be on ABC again because Fox will be hosting the World Cup. Is that correct? Because normally Fox and ABC would alternate for the UFL championship game. But I think the World Cup, by the time we get to the UFL championship game, I think the World Cup would already be underway. So I think ABC will be hosting it again, which I prefer ABC hosting it again. I don't know if Joe Tessitore will be the announcer again, because I've always liked him. So if ABC's hosting it again, that means their game, the UFL championship game, will not be during an NBA Finals game as well as a Stanley Cup Final game. Because NBA Finals, it's always on ABC. Stanley Cup Final this year will also be on ABC. So, wow, this is a big year for ABC Sports for the summer. Yeah. Okay, well, that's a good thing. I hope that's true. The only thing they'll be competing with is the World Cup. But the World Cup's every 4 years. So, But yeah, I did not watch any UFL. The only thing I saw was the first ever 4-point field goal. I think it was from the Washington. What is their name? I forgot what the team. Oh, DC Defenders. I think they were in St. Louis, and I saw that St. Louis, they put the Battlehawks logo on the field at the 50-yard line. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the only thing I saw. The first ever 4-point field goal. That's it. I didn't watch any highlights. I didn't watch any of the recorded games. I guess that means I was trying not to get spoiled. Yeah, I will watch. I will try to catch up. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take time. But just being honest with you guys, I didn't watch any. Other than that short of that first ever 4-point field goal. Which I'll talk more about that a little later. Now, for the MLB, I only watched one game. And it was their very first game of the season on Netflix. Yeah. It's weird. I know. Opening night. The very first game of the 2026 MLB season. San Francisco Giants against the New York Yankees. Only on Netflix. The only game of the night. I don't know why they did it like this. Well, it has to be because of the money. You notice recent years Netflix is trying to get into sports. I think it's because Amazon Prime, they first got into sports. So Netflix they're probably saying, hey, we should also get into sports like Amazon Prime. And I know there's a lot of people that have both Netflix and Amazon Prime, but there are people that don't have either one. There are people that don't have Netflix and Amazon Prime. So, I know. So yeah, I tuned in because I wanted to see what it was like. Netflix's first ever MLB broadcast. I don't know if they'll host another game or if this is the only Netflix game of the season. If this is Netflix's only game of the season, then that's kind of unfortunate. Because wow, out of all the days you pick opening night, the very first game of the season, if they're not going to host another game, if there's not going to be another game on Netflix, then really? Why have this one game? The very first game. Really? Amazon Prime, they're well known for hosting Thursday Night Football for the National Football League. But you notice they never host the very first one. They never host the very first Thursday night game because NBC would host it. Yeah. So yeah, it's weird that Netflix hosted it. Some people I heard didn't like the broadcast, and I get it. I get it. But yeah, I tuned in just to see how it would go. What was the game supposed to start at 8:00 or a little after 7 p.m. Central, but it didn't start until 7:20 or 7:25. I'm not surprised because they would always do this pre-game ceremony because it's the very first game of the season. But my question is, why is it Yankees and Giants? Why was it those two teams playing? I get it. those are popular teams. Don't get me wrong, but like, because it's an American League against a National League team, and I don't like that. All the teams have to play against all the teams. It was not like that when I used to really got into it. See, they like to make these changes for the money. I get it. Like, I'd rather have Yankees Red Sox on Netflix because that's a rivalry. That they're in the same division. Or why not have Yankees against the, I don't know, the Mariners? Yeah. Because they're both in the American League. That would make more sense. But you have Yankees against Giants. Okay. The game was in San Francisco. Their manager, what's the Giants manager name? I forgot. Tony? Let me look him up. But he used to be the Tennessee Volunteers manager, Tony Vitello. This is his first time being involved in Major League Baseball. He's never been a Major League coach. This is his first time. I don't know how he got hired. You know, the Buster Olney, or not Buster Olney, excuse me. I meant to say Buster Posey, the great former Giants catcher. He's the president of the San Francisco Giants. So he's the one that hired Tony Vitello. First of all, congratulations to Buster Posey on becoming the big boss of the San Francisco Giants. I mean, that's amazing. So that's interesting. That's the interesting story. You know, someone who's never been in the major leagues, he gets hired somehow to become their manager. And the San Francisco Giants were off to a bad start because they got shut out. Getting shut out on opening night, where it's the only game on at home, that's embarrassing. That really is. That is embarrassing. Because, you know, people that aren't Yankees and Giants fans, they wanted this to be a good game. Yeah, I wanted it to be a good game. The announcers were really interesting. It was Matt Vasgersian, along with Hunter Pence, who used to play with the Giants, and CC Sabathia, who used to play with the Yankees. So I remember watching those guys playing in the 2010s. Yeah, and I enjoyed them calling the game. I enjoyed those guys calling the game. So they made the game entertaining. The one thing I don't really like is their score bug. That is a weird looking score bug. What is with today's score bugs? Today's score bugs don't look great compared to the 2010 score bugs or even the 2000 score bugs. And I think the font, the text was very small on the score bug because it's like a square. I'm like, really? And remember when Netflix would host the NFL's Christmas games? Which I did not watch, but I wanted to see what their score bug looked like. And that score bug looked weird. It's a weird shape. This is also a weird looking shape for their MLB score bug. So that was kind of disappointing. You know, Adam Shine, he actually talked about the score bug. He said he didn't like it. He did not like their score bug. Man, because a lot of my favorite sports talk podcasts, they hardly mention score bugs in general. But whenever they do, that usually means they don't like it. I remember when last year's Super Bowl on Fox, when they debuted that weird-looking score bug, people were talking about it because it sucked. That score bug sucked. Thankfully, they updated it. It looks better, but it still looks weird. So, I don't know. Speaking of score bugs, unfortunately, Fox still has that score bug. And I know that's your number one favorite score bug, Five-Tayer. So more power to you. But I've never liked that score bug. Although I guess I don't dislike it as much, because I'm used to it now. But that score bug looked really bad during the World Baseball Classic. You got the country flags behind the abbreviation and the score. That looks terrible. Just have one or the other. Ugh. Thankfully, I didn't have to watch the World Baseball Classic Championship game on Fox. So, because normally a score bug's life would last 3 to 5 years, maybe 6. But TBS, they still have their score bug since like 2018 or 19. What the heck? Why don't they change it? And I don't really like TBS's score bug either, because their numbers and font is so small. It's like you have to sit close to the TV. At least Fox's score bug, their font isn't small. It's just the shape of it looks weird. Go look at Fox's previous score bug and TBS's previous score bug. Those score bugs look better. It wasn't a weird looking shape. It wasn't very tiny text. That's what I like. And I know they're trying to be creative and all this, but this is just like what Netflix did. I don't know. Anyways, so, yeah, isn't it weird that Netflix hosted the very first MLB game of the season? But that doesn't bother me because, I can put on the game. But for the people that don't have Netflix, yeah, that sucks for them. Unless if they have radio. Listen, listening to baseball games on the radio, I'll tell you what, to me, baseball is the best sport to listen to on the radio. It is. Because it's a slowed paced, it's a faster game now, but it's not like crazy amount of action like there is in football, hockey, or even basketball. I've listened to football games on the radio before, but I can't imagine listening to a hockey game on the radio. I'd say this, in my opinion, if you listen to hockey games on the radio throughout the year, that means hockey's your number one favorite sport. Because, why not just watch it on TV? I don't know, that's just me. But baseball, because there's not much action, You can listen to it on the radio. And I think last year and the year before, I've listened to more games on the radio than watching them on TV. The main reason why is because of the announcers. It's all about the announcers. If you like certain announcers, yeah, you would like to try to find those guys, radio or TV. Some people do both. You know who does both? One of them, Steven Nelson for the LA Dodgers. I'm not really a fan of Steven Nelson. But I liked him when he did the World Baseball Classic. Yeah. He was calling the games at the Tokyo Dome. I liked him more on that because, he wasn't, you know how local team announcers are. Yes, they want their team to win, but internationally, they're not rooting for a team. So, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Giants got shut out, and they also got shut out the next day. Oh, their next game, Friday. They had the day off on Thursday. Because remember, this first game was on Wednesday night. March the 25th, I believe? Yep. Is that the earliest date for opening day history? I think it is. Because back then, it used to start on April 1st, around April Fool's Day. I remember one year it started on April the 6th. But now it starts like a week before April. Okay. To me, I think that's a little too soon because of the conclusion of the World Baseball Classic. World Baseball Classic ended on March 17th. Aaron Judge was in the final, right? And his first MLB game of the 2026 season was 8 nights later. That's a little too soon, in my opinion. It should be like 2 weeks after. This is to me. I don't know. So the Giants, they got shut out again in their second game. I remember I tuned in to MLB Network, and they were showing the end of their game, and they only had like, 1 or 2 hits? Wow. So, I remember the Giants used to be a really good team in the early to mid 2010s. They won 3 World Series titles in 5 years. That was their dynasty. Now we got a new dynasty, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yeah. So yeah, that Netflix game was really the only game I watched. And sometimes I'll watch some clips on YouTube on what happened. Let's see here. Obviously, the big thing for the MLB is the ABS system. You're probably wondering, what are my thoughts on that? Because they introduced that in last year's All-Star game, correct? I don't mind it, actually. I don't mind it. It's just, got to get used to it. But at the same time, I wonder what took them this long to have the ABS system. You think they would have something like this a couple of years ago, but I guess finally they're having it. Do I like it? I guess so, because I don't mind it. It's kind of cool, because you know what this reminds me of? In tennis. When you watch tennis, you can, back then, you can challenge whether if the ball is in or out. Okay? If it touches the line, it's in. All right. Well, recent years, back then they would have linesmen on the courts. Well, recent years, a lot of the professional tennis tournaments got rid of linesmen. And it's all electronic calls. But I think players, they can request a review to look at it, if they want to. But basically, they can't really challenge anymore because it's all electronically. For the MLB, it's a little bit different because it's not electronic calls. Although that's probably what will happen in the future. They didn't have the ABS in the World Baseball Classic, even though a lot of people wish they had it. In that, after what happened in the Team USA Dominican Republic ending, a low-called strike 3 to end the ball game. And when I saw that, I'm like, wait, did he swung at that pitch? Did the batter swung at a low pitch? No, he didn't. So that means they are gonna what this means? They're gonna have the ABS in the next World Baseball Classic. Yeah. So you get 2 challenges. I know I'm weird for talking about this late, but like I said, better late than never. At some point you want to hear my thoughts on this, so I'm finally giving it to you. So you get 2 challenges. And you'll lose a challenge if you get it wrong. Okay? So if it's a strike called and the batter will tap his helmet, and then the home plate umpire, they have mics on now, and then they'll address it to the crowd. The batter's challenging the strike call, and then they'll show the video presented by T-Mobile, like the T-Mobile Home Run Derby. Oh, speaking of that, yep, I heard that Netflix will be hosting the Home Run Derby. I don't know if T-Mobile will still be the sponsor. I guess I'll tune into that just to see how they're going to cover the Home Run Derby. So, and the catcher can challenge if it's a called ball. Yeah. So, you get 2 challenges, and you get to keep them as long as you keep getting them correct. But if you get them wrong, you lose 1. So, it's like you don't want to use them too early in the game, right? It's better if you save them. You don't want to lose your challenges before the 5th inning, I guess they're gonna have these in the postseason. I assume they'll have the ABS in the postseason. Okay. I don't mind it, actually. I think it's kind of cool. I think it is kind of cool to have it. But I'm a little surprised that it took them this long to have something like this. I don't know. But, today's technology and all that stuff, that's why they kind of changed the game. Back in the old days, technology wasn't really much of a thing. Technology has changed the world. See, old people, some old people, they don't like this. They don't like the new technology because they didn't have that when they were young. And I get it. Hey, when I'm an old man, there's going to be something crazy happening in the world. I don't know what is it going to be like in the future in 50 years? I don't know. A lot can change over, the decades. Go back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, the world was quite different back then. If you're old enough, if you're about my age, but if you're still growing up, yeah, you can't remember what happened. Like if you're 16, 10 years ago, you're 6 years old. It's hard to remember what happened when you were 6 years old, So I was 14 and a half. So I can kind of remember things, back then. But yeah, I sort of like the ABS. It's cool. Now this is the interesting part about the ABS is that this is what I heard, but I saw some YouTube clips of this. You know how I mentioned earlier that whenever people talk about a score bug, that means the score bug is not that great. Well, it's kind of the same with umpires. When people talk about umpires or a certain umpire, that means that umpire is not that great. And I'm going to talk about this. This leads to C.B. Buckner. Now, I'm familiar with a lot of these umpires. I'm one of those fans that likes to watch the officiating as much as the players. I know. See, because I started watching it in 2013. And over the years, I would get familiar with the umpires, their names, what they look like, the number they wear on their sleeve. Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. And I don't write this stuff down. It's all in my head. Can you believe that? Here's an example. C.B. Buckner. He wears number 54. I'm pretty sure he wears number 54. Okay. Doug Eddings. He wears number 88. I know, isn't this interesting what I'm saying? This is stuck in my mind. I can remember this stuff. Bill Miller, he wears number 26. So yeah, there was a time where I sort of wanted to become an umpire, but I never did. So I would dress up as one. That's why I have that collection. That's why I have that collection of the umpire shirts and jackets and the hats. And I would dress up like one sometimes because I like their uniforms. It's cool. You know how other sports, the officiating, it's the striped shirts, referee shirt. Well, no. They're not called referees, they're called umpires, even though they're very similar, So, and the number I chose for my number umpire shirts uniforms is 99, because there was no umpire for a while. For a while, there was no umpire that had that number, which is actually surprising. Plus, it's the highest possible number, and one of the big-time players wears 99. That's Aaron Judge, the biggest player in the league, so I chose 99. So yeah, unfortunately, for C.B. Buckner, he's been around for a long time. He's actually Jamaican. Yeah, because you can look up these umpires. It says C.B. Buckner is an American Jamaican umpire. Like, what? He's Jamaican. And he's, like I said, when a lot of people talk about a certain umpire, that means that umpire is not that great. Like, oh my gosh, this call wasn't even close. He called a ball, that was clearly a strike. He called that a strike, that was way out of the zone, another umpire that was like that, Angel Hernandez. Yep. Angel Hernandez. Angel Hernandez will go down as probably the most hated umpire in history. He retired in 2023 or 4, a couple years ago. But now that Angel retired, people ask the question, okay, who is now that Angel's retired, who is now going to be the most hated umpire? One of them was C.B. Buckner, and I guess C.B. Buckner is now going to be the new Angel Hernandez. Man. So C.B. Buckner, this was a game in Cincinnati. He was the home plate umpire. And they kept challenging using the ABS system, and a lot of the calls were overturned. So that means C.B. Buckner was wrong a lot of the times whenever a player would challenge the call. And I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of embarrassing for C.B. Buckner. How many times? Was it like 5 or 6 times in the single game? Because again, if you get the calls correct, you challenge and you get them correct, you get to keep your challenges. And I saw a comment that said, the ABS system, I bet this is the reason why Angel Hernandez retired. And I thought to myself, that might be true. That might be true, because I think Angel, he knew this was coming, and I guess he didn't want to get embarrassed anymore on national TV. So now it's C.B. Buckner. And I saw a few comments saying, dang, I wish Angel was still an umpire so we can see how many incorrect calls how many overturned calls when he's the home plate umpire. Yeah. And then not too long after, I think it was like the following week in Milwaukee, C.B. Buckner got hit by a foul ball in the mask, and he had to leave the game. And I saw comments saying, I saw one of them that said, I think the baseball gods want C.B. Buckner to retire. One of them, another comment saying, wow, CB is having a really bad start to the season. I kind of feel bad for the guy, because I'm someone that follow these umpires. Yeah. But listen, it's really hard. It's not easy. It is not an easy job. Especially being the home plate umpire. That ball is coming in at least 95 miles per hour. It's like a blink of an eye. You have to call something. You got to call something. It's actually impossible to get every call correct behind home plate. Now, some umpires, they'll get a lot of them wrong. Some, they won't get much. They'll get most of them correct, but that is a tough job. That is tough. And you get hit by the foul ball, and some of them, they get a concussion. And you know what? That's actually one of the reasons why I never became an umpire. I'm afraid I'm going to get hit by a baseball in the mask. Yeah, I'm afraid to get hurt, because I'm not an athlete. I never got into playing sports. But when you're an athlete, at some point, you're going to get hurt. At some point, you're going to get injured. And that is no fun. There's athletes that get injured every year that require surgery. the big-time pitchers, pretty much all of them, they get that Tommy John surgery, and they would sit out for a whole season. That happened to Garrett Cole last season. Oh, I wonder who's next to get Tommy John surgery. Who's the next pitcher to be out for the season? I think Justin Verlander, he got that twice. He got Tommy John surgery twice in his career. And yes, I do know he's still an active player. He's now back with the Detroit Tigers, so that's really cool because that's where he started. He's gonna start his career as a Detroit Tiger, and he's going to end his career as a Detroit Tiger. So, yeah. Oh, man. I hope this doesn't happen in the future. I hope they don't get rid of umpires. I hope it's not going to be like, tennis where they get rid of the linesmen. I hope the same thing doesn't happen to umpires because I like watching these guys. I do. It's going to be weird. Like, if this happens in the future, you're going to watch a baseball game, no umpire behind the catcher. But I heard, isn't the future going to be robot umpires, meaning it's all going to be electronic calls like they do in tennis? I don't know. I think minor league baseball is going to do something like that first, and then MLB, and then Major League Baseball they'll add that to their game. I don't know, but I'm telling you, man. You know how technology is a huge thing. Sometimes technology takes over people's jobs, which is actually kind of sad. Because in the old days, a lot of this technology didn't exist, so it's kind of crazy on the. What we are in today's world. I don't know what it's going to be more crazy. Wait until we get to the 2050s. What the heck is the world going to be like in 2050? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know what? I know I haven't watched any games. I might watch some games this year. Last year, I did not watch many games. I didn't watch much games. MLB games. I'm talking about MLB. I didn't watch much last year, but this year, I might watch more. It might be because of the ABS system. Or it might be because I was so hyped up for the World Baseball Classic, and that was a huge success. I'm sort of... And a lot of these podcasts that I would listen to, I might get into watching some games. But like I said, the problem with the MLB is that their season is in the middle of all this other sports leagues. But they play 162 games, so you have a lot of chances to watch your favorite team's games. All right. Yeah, I might watch some games throughout the season. If not, radio. So, yeah. We'll see. All right, yeah, this episode's already over an hour. I knew this would be a big one. Which I'm glad I'm doing this on a Saturday anyways. You know what time it is? It's actually almost 3 a.m. Yep, it's almost 3 a.m. All right, at some point we're going to move on. All right, let's do, MLB Division Predictions. MLB Division Predictions. I know I'm late to this, but better late than never. So, I did this last year, Hey, you know how people they like to give out their championship predictions, like the Super Bowl prediction right before the NFL starts. Well, people do the same thing with the World Series. They would give out their World Series prediction before the season begins, and most of them that I've heard, their World Series predictions are LA Dodgers against the Seattle Mariners. And I believe that was my prediction when heading into last year's postseason. I believe that's what I had in my bracket. I think I had Mariners Dodgers. So, yeah, I would like to see the Mariners be in the World Series for the first time ever. They are the only team that have never gone to a World Series. And there was a time where they did not go to the postseason for 20 plus years straight. Isn't that crazy? I think it was from 2000 to 2021. They were not in the postseason. All those years. That's crazy. Then finally, I believe it was in 2022, they went to the postseason. And they faced the Toronto Blue Jays, and then they faced them again last year. Mariners-Blue Jays might be a rivalry now. In the American League. Yeah, I would like to see the Mariners in the World Series. Yeah, do I still root for the Houston Astros? Of course, yes. I know they're in the same division. But I think Houston Astros, their biggest rival is the Texas Rangers. They're the two teams in Texas. The Lone Star Series. That was the 2023 American League Championship Series. Astros and Rangers. That was actually kind of exciting. Yeah. Because, for once, it's not Yankees or Red Sox in the ALCS. Although, Houston Astros, they went to 7 consecutive ALCSs, which is really impressive. That happened. I remember that happened with the New England Patriots. That they went to 8 consecutive AFC Championship games. That almost happened again with the Kansas City Chiefs. Last year, my World Series prediction was Philadelphia Phillies against the Boston Red Sox. And both teams made it to the postseason, so that was a possibility. So that was a pretty good World Series prediction. I think it was in 2024, Buster Olney, he had Mariners against the San Diego Padres in his World Series heading into the 2024 MLB season. And I think neither team got in the postseason that year. All right, so let's start. American League East. I think that's the toughest division, not only in the American League, but in all of the Major League Baseball. Yankees are going to be a good team. I think the Blue Jays are also going to be a good team. They lost Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette's now with the New York Mets. Oh, by the way, I heard that the fans were booing him. Why were they booing him? It's like they don't want Bo Bichette on the Mets. What's the reason why they're booing this man? And the New York Mets, they lost Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is now with the Baltimore Orioles. I'll give you my division winners. I'll do, division winners, then the runner-up, and then third, fourth, and fifth. I guess Yankees. I guess I had the New York Yankees winning the American League East. Last year, I believe they were tied with the Toronto Blue Jays. I heard that the Yankees are going to be a better team this season, and I think so too. I think they'll be a better team this year. Yeah, Garrett Cole, I heard he's going to come back in about a month. So when he's back in his groove, and they got Cam Schlittler, who made his debut last season, he's really good. Hey, I think this team's going to be pretty good. I think the Yankees are going to be a better team. So I have them winning the division. Second place. I guess I'll go with the Toronto Blue Jays. Oh, and I saw the video of their manager, John Schneider. He got really mad at the umpire. And oh my gosh, I never really see him this angry. And his face was turning red. Like, whew. Wow. Okay. Last year I really wanted the Mariners to be in the World Series or win it. But they lost to the team that went to the World Series, the Toronto Blue Jays. So then I started rooting for the Blue Jays, and then they come up short. Yeah, they had that one. They had that World Series one. In third place, I guess I'll go with the Boston Red Sox. But I heard that the Red Sox, they were off to a bad start. Just like the San Francisco Giants. And when you're off to a bad start, you're in this hole. You got to get out of this big hole that you're in. That's not easy. Even though, I know there's a lot of games left to be played, but that takes a while. That takes a while to get out of this big hole that they're in. But I'll go with them in third place. Fourth place, I'll go with the I guess the Baltimore Orioles. And fifth, I got the Tampa Bay Rays. But I don't think the Rays are going to be that bad of a team. I think they're going to be pretty good. But they're in a tough division. Oh, yes, I found out that they're back in Tropicana Field. And remember, they're planning. They were supposed to getting a new stadium in a couple of years, but I don't think that I read online that's not going to be a thing anymore. They are no longer building a new stadium, so they're staying in the circus tent, as I would like to call it. Me and my father, we would make fun of that place because the roof is not high enough. Yeah. So that's what I have in my American League East. We'll go to the American League Central. The team I have winning it. I think the Kansas City Royals are going to be a better team. I heard that they're probably going to be a better team. I also heard that they're getting a new stadium, as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. I heard that the Chiefs are going to get a dome stadium in a couple of years. I don't know if that's true or if that's a rumor. But why a dome though? I don't know. Yeah, I heard that the Royals will get better. Detroit Tigers. Tarek Skubal, we'll see how he does. I heard that I did check. By the way, I did check the standings today. The Tigers are not off. They're off to a not so good of a start as well. Cleveland Guardians are going to be a pretty good team. Minnesota Twins, I don't think they're going to be a good team. And the White Sox, I don't think they're going to be good either. So, you know what? I'm going to go with Kansas City Royals. That's my surprising pick. I'm going to say Royals win the American League Central. Then I'll go with it's either Cleveland or Detroit. That's actually a pretty good rivalry too. Tigers and Guardians. I'll go with the Guardians. I say Guardians, they'll come in second. Tigers will come in third. Twins will be in fourth. White Sox will be in fifth. American League West, I think Seattle Mariners are a big favorite. But I saw their record so far. They have a losing record. But I still think they're going to win that division. I have Mariners winning the American League West. Second place, I guess I'll say Houston Astros. In third, I have the Texas Rangers. Fourth, the Anaheim Angels. Fifth, Sacramento Athletics. Yeah, the Athletics are gonna be in Sacramento this season and next season, I believe. So I think 2028, the Las Vegas new stadium will be ready. Yeah, my question is, why can't they just stay in Oakland until the Vegas stadium's ready? Is that stadium still there in Oakland? Because they're probably gonna demolish it. So that's what they do. They demolish stadiums when they're just no longer needed. Which is kind of sad, to think about it. Oh, speaking of the Angels, they were in this. I saw this video. There was like the bench is cleared against the Atlanta Braves, I believe it was. So that was something. Yeah, but yeah, I have seen some YouTube videos, but that's about it. The CB Buckner news, that's the big one. The ABS system, the John Schneider ejection, and the benches clearing. All right, to the National League East. I have to go with the Philadelphia Phillies. I hope that team. I would like to see the Phillies win the World Series with Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. I would like to see that. I would like to see them winning it. They were on the same team. They were both on Team USA. Oh, by the way, Bryce Harper says he would like to play in the Olympics if Major League Baseball allows their players to be in the 2028 Los Angeles Summer Olympics, which I hope they do. I hope so. I think they can. Look what the NHL did. They let their players play in it, and what happened? Boom. We got USA-Canada gold medal match again, So, and yes, you have to pause the season, but if the NHL can do it, MLB can easily do it. So, I hope they do, because they're going to use Dodger Stadium. I think I don't know. We'll have to see. We don't know yet. But I assume we'll find out soon, So I have the Phillies winning the NL East, second place. I have to go with the New York Mets. I still cannot believe they were not in the playoffs last season. They were not in the postseason. That was that was the shocker. Juan Soto got paid all that money, Now they don't have Pete Alonso. So I'm going to go with the Mets. Third, I'll go with the Atlanta Braves. My least favorite team. Fourth, I'll go with the Miami Marlins. And then fifth, the Washington Nationals. National League Central. This is actually I think this is a pretty good division, I think, the NL Central. I think that's the toughest division in the National League. I heard that the Pirates might get better slightly, as well as the Cincinnati Reds. I'm going to go with your favorite team, Teixeira, the Chicago Cubs. I have them winning the National League Central. Yeah, they don't have Kyle Tucker, but they got Alex Bregman. I think this team can be pretty good. I have them winning the National League Central. Second place, I'll go with the Milwaukee Brewers. Third, I'll go with the Cincinnati Reds. How about that? With Elly De La Cruz, one of the fastest, if not the fastest player right now. Fourth, I'll go with St. Louis Cardinals. And fifth, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Seems like every year the Pirates are in last place. That team has not been great in a long, long time. The Pittsburgh Pirates, yeah. But they have one of the best ballparks, I heard. The Pittsburgh Pirates have one of the best ballparks in the country. It's very nice. It is very nice. This is one cool thing about MLB is that every ballpark is different. You know how a lot of football stadiums look similar, but inside the baseball stadiums, they have their own unique features. Fenway Park, they're well known with that green monster and the pesky pole. Houston Astros, the Crawford box is at left field. You know? What else? Milwaukee Brewers and Arizona Diamondbacks, their stadiums are similar because they have that big screen at dead center field. You know? Oh, Kansas City, one of the oldest stadiums. They have those nice big fountains at I think it's what is it, right center field, I think. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool to see that. Oh, St. Louis, they have that Gateway Arch in the background at Busch Stadium. I like that. That's also one of the nicest ballparks. Of course, Yankee Stadium is Yankee Stadium. Wrigley Field. Very awesome, historic venue. Yeah, they're all pretty cool. So yeah, okay, where was I? Okay, now National League West, it's easy. If you don't have the LA Dodgers winning the National League West, something's wrong with you. Seriously. They're going to win it. It's not going to be close. Second place will be a battle, I think. I'll go with the San Diego Padres. In third, I'll go with Arizona Diamondbacks. Fourth, San Francisco Giants. Fifth, Colorado Rockies. Remember last year, Colorado Rockies had like the most losses? The year before was the Chicago White Sox. Yeah. Question is, the big question is LA Dodgers winning the World Series or the field? Now, I'm going to be honest. In 2024, Dodgers or the field, I actually picked the Dodgers. I did. I actually did. After the Shohei Ohtani big contract, I'm like, okay, LA's going to win the World Series, I think. And what happened? They won the World Series. However, in 2025, I took the field. And LA, they could have lost that World Series. They really could have. So this year, Dodgers of the field. Guess I'll go with Dodgers again. Yeah, I have the Dodgers winning the World Series again. Three-peat. Now they have Kyle Tucker. Like, what the heck? Out of all the teams, of course. Of course. Of course it's LA. Yeah, Kyle Tucker's now with the Dodgers. What the heck? Can we have the LA Dodgers face the MLB other non-Dodgers players in the All-Star game? Let's have MLB versus LA Dodgers in this year's MLB All-Star game. That would be kind of funny. Yeah, I have the LA Dodgers winning the World Series again, unfortunately. Okay, which team do I come? Which American League team's going to be in it? I do want to see the Mariners. I do, but something tells me that they're not going to be in it. It might be a rematch from last year's World Series or the year before. It might be Yankees-Dodgers again or Blue Jays-Dodgers again. Or who knows, maybe a surprising team. Might be Kansas City Royals. I don't know. But if the Dodgers are in the World Series again, I'm cheering for the American League team. I am. Even the Texas Rangers, Houston Astros rivalry, I'll cheer for the Rangers. That's how much I don't want to see LA winning it again. Now, there's only two teams that have won 3 consecutive World Series. New York Yankees and the Oakland Athletics, believe it or not. Yeah, the Oakland Athletics actually won 3 consecutive World Series. I think it's back in the 70s. But New York, they won 3 in a row from 1998 to 2000. They were in 4 in a row. They lost the 2001 World Series, which a lot of people were cheering for the Yankees in that World Series because of 9/11. So, yeah. I would like to see. I would like to see Aaron Judge win a World Series title. Yeah. Which National League team can beat the LA Dodgers? Last year's postseason, the Phillies put up a fight for a while. But then that crazy ending at home plate. What would have happened if that didn't happen? Who knows? The series would have probably gone to 5 games. See, Dodgers Phillies, that sounded like a National League Championship series to me. Cuz they have in the postseason they seeded the teams, right? But they don't reseed them after the wild card. I think they should. Because the National League Championship Series was a sweep. The Dodgers swept the Brewers. Oh wait, I think you must have liked that 5-tayer because the Brewers are Chicago Cubs, one of their biggest rivalries. But you said the LA Dodgers are now your least favorite MLB team. So I guess you'd rather have the Brewers in the World Series than the LA Dodgers. I guess you'd rather have the Brewers win the World Series than the LA Dodgers winning 3 in a row? I would, for sure. Brewers haven't won a World Series in a long time. You know, back then, in the old days, I like to read the history. The Brewers were actually in the American League. And the Houston Astros were in the National League. In the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks, I know that's your least favorite team, 5-tayer, but they were actually in the AFC conference. in the old days. But yeah, I really don't want to see the LA Dodgers winning, because I heard what happens if they win it again. Are we going to have a lockout in 2027? Oh boy. You know, there was no World Series in 1994. They had a lockout in 1994 during the regular season. And it lasted too long. They had no choice but to cancel the postseason and the World Series. Man, that really sucked. Oh, and I think I read, because I like to read about the history, I read back in the old days there was a team called the Montreal Expos, and they've never been to a World Series before they moved to Washington, D.C. In 1994, that was the Expos' best season. Damn, that really sucked for that franchise, didn't it? Like, wow, I think they were the best team when the lockout started. The Expos were the best team, I believe, at least in the American League. And damn, rest of the season got canceled. It's kind of like in 2020, the COVID year. It happened in March, right? The lockdown, the shutdown of the world. It was right before March Madness. What happened? March Madness got canceled because of the pandemic. Yeah, I know. Obviously, we don't want to have a lockout. So yeah, I bet every non-Dodger fan will be rooting against them in the World Series. Yeah, I would. You know, yeah, because 5TR, if you're still listening, that's awesome. I know you said you don't like seeing teams win it back to back, unless if it's your favorite. And yeah, I'm kind of like that too. But I think you'll agree with me on what I'm about to say. I think we would rather see the Florida Panthers win 3 consecutive Stanley Cups than the LA Dodgers winning 3 consecutive World Series. However, I did check the NHL standings. The Florida Panthers are somehow eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. Wow, I didn't know they were that bad. Because I don't really watch NHL games. So, but if the Panthers were to be in the Stanley Cup playoffs again, we would rather have them winning it 3 in a row than the LA Dodgers. And the Panthers, they won back-to-back Stanley Cup finals on their home ice. The series ended it on their home ice. When LA Dodgers, when they won back-to-back World Series, they weren't at Dodger Stadium. They were the visiting team. Like, I'd rather see them winning it at their home ballpark, because that would make it more special. It's like, what the heck? This team, they can't win the World Series in their own ballpark? Ugh. If they do win it again, they better win it in Dodger Stadium this time, because I'm kind of tired of seeing these visiting teams winning championships instead of celebrating at their own ballpark. Why does that happen a lot? A lot of times that happens. The visiting team wins the championship. Well, it didn't happen in the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City Thunder, they won the NBA Finals in their home court, which is great for them. But it seems like a lot of times in the World Series, the visiting team wins. I'm glad when the Houston Astros won it the second time, they were at home. So, okay, so there you have it. What if I'm right? What if I get all of these correct? Okay. Alright, I'm going to say Yankees-Dodgers World Series. That's my prediction. And I have LA winning it again. So, oh boy. Alright, let's move on to the UFL, United Football League. So, the UFL. UFL has new teams. I think they have like 3 new teams. One of them's in Louisville. Yep. The other one's in Orlando. I think there's one in Columbus. Let me look at. I'm gonna just look this up. UFL. UFL. They changed their logo. I like their new logo. Yeah, I think they have a new president or a new owner, and he's making these changes, which I think is a good idea. So that way, there's a chance you can have more viewers, more fans. So the UFL, this is their 3rd season. Okay. It's owned by, what's his name? Mike Rapoli? Mike Rapoli? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But it says, I'm on Wikipedia, it says he's an entrepreneur, businessman, and racehorse owner. Wow. He is best known for co-founding Glaso, which is sold to Coca-Cola for $4.1 billion. Jeez. And Body Armor Super Drink, a sports drink manufacturer, which also sold to Coca-Cola for $5.6 billion. Jeez, Louisiana, that's an insane amount of money. I mean, Coca-Cola's been around forever. Okay, so the teams here. Here are the teams. So they got rid of 3 teams last season. Those are the Michigan Panthers, Memphis Showboats, and San Antonio Brahmas. The surprising team that is no longer in this UFL league is the Michigan Panthers, because the Michigan Panthers were in the championship game last year. Why did they got rid of them? Memphis Showboats, I'm not surprised, because I think they have the least attendance. Now the Showboats are not that good of a team, so. Now the Brahmas, I don't know what happened to this team. They were in the 2024 championship game. I don't know why these teams got folded, but they got replaced by Columbus Aviators, Louisville Kings, and Orlando Storm. Now, in the XFL, before they got merged with the UFL, Orlando was called the Guardians. So I don't know why they're not called the Guardians again. They're called the Storm. So those are the 3 new teams. So, like I said, I haven't watched any games yet, but I'll eventually get into that. Yeah, football's back. No need to wait till September. Yep, because a real football fan would not wait until September. Why wait? If you love football, you might as well watch the UFL. After UFL, we have CFL. After CFL, American football, college and NFL. You can watch football. You can watch football for a good 10 months. Over 10 months. From the beginning of the UFL season to the Super Bowl. That's over 10 months of football. You can do that. You can do that. I wonder how many people are doing that. You get to watch UFL, CFL, college football, NFL. That's 4 different football leagues. So yeah. And I heard, because I would get ESPN notifications, I got one that Oklahoma City will get a UFL team in 2028. Huh. That's interesting. Oklahoma City is a future team. So they are expanding it. That's awesome. That's actually a good thing. That means this league is going to stay. This league is going to stay for at least maybe another 5 years. So that's awesome. So there's 8 teams right now. So this is Oklahoma City will be their 9th team. I assume they'll add one more team to make it even. 10 teams. 5 teams in each division. I hope New Orleans can get a team. Because remember they had the Breakers, the New Orleans Breakers in the USFL. If New Orleans can get a team, that would be a dream come true for me. Because I can go to their games. Because the closest team for me is the Houston Gamblers. And I'm glad that they are no longer called the Roughnecks. Because I did not like the Roughnecks' uniforms. I like the Houston Roughnecks 2020 version in the XFL. But when they moved to the UFL, they changed their logo and they changed their uniform. I did not like it. I didn't like it. And what I really didn't like was they were in the USFL conference. Roughnecks came from the XFL. So shouldn't they be called the Gamblers when they're in the XFL? Because the Gamblers came from the USFL. So finally, they changed that. What I wanted to change, they did it. They're now the Gamblers, as they should be. Plus, I like the Gamblers' uniforms more than the Roughnecks. So yeah, that'll be the team that I'll be rooting for. The Gamblers, because they're the closest team. I would like to go to a game, but most likely it's not going to be this season because I just went to Houston for the World Baseball Classic. So next season, hopefully the Gamblers will still be in the UFL next season. I would like to go to a Gamblers game for the experience. Maybe I'll go to their very first one. Should I go to a day game or a night game? I don't know. But hey, it's outdoors. Yep. So yeah, next year, I would like to go to a Gamblers game. I'm going to try and do that. I think the St. Louis Battlehawks, they have the best fans because they truly care about their team. Thankfully, they kept the dome at America Center. The Rams, the NFL's Rams used to play there. The St. Louis Rams back then, before they moved to Los Angeles. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. I'm glad Birmingham didn't win the championship again. Oh yeah, they don't have Skip Holtz is no longer their coach. It's now A.J. McCarron. And A.J. McCarron used to be the St. Louis Battlehawks' quarterback. So that's interesting. A.J. is now the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions. And the St. Louis Battlehawks used to have Anthony Becht. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name. He used to be the St. Louis Battlehawks coach. Now he's the Orlando Storm coach. Interesting. These other coaches, I never heard of them before. Yeah. We'll see how this goes. Even though I haven't seen any games yet, but oh yeah, the Renegades. They're now called Dallas Renegades because they moved. They're not playing in Globe Life Park. Used to be the Texas Rangers' old stadium. They're not playing there anymore. They're now playing in Frisco, Texas, the Toyota Stadium. A lot of these stadiums are soccer stadiums. I can tell. Yeah. But hey, this is good news for the UFL. They're staying. They're getting Oklahoma City in 2028. See, this new owner, I think he knows what he's doing. That's great. That's great. All right, this is actually kind of exciting. Now, the rules, the big rule change is there's now 4-point field goals. Yeah, 4-point field goals. I believe that's when you kick a 60-yarder or more. But I think that's the big change. The 4-point field goals. Let's see here. The one thing I didn't like, what I didn't like is that their season began the same weekend as MLB's season, just like last year. But hey, it's the UFL. They're not a popular league. This is only their third season, so I guess they don't care if they're competing with other leagues. So it is what it is. Okay, it looks like their championship game is going to be on June 13. Is that a Saturday or a Sunday? Let me look this up. That's on a Saturday. All right. Where is it going to be at? Is it going to be at St. Louis again? The year before, I believe. The year before it was also in St. Louis. Is it going to be in St. Louis again? Too bad the Battlehawks weren't in it because they have the best fans. Oh, yeah. Apparently there's some games on NFL Network. I don't know why. Well, maybe this is so that more people can watch it. Let's see here. I think the UFL is getting better, folks. I'm glad. I just wish people can talk about it. I'm sure if I search up a podcast, I'm sure there are some that talk about the UFL. Let's see here. some people, they want them to bring back the Seattle Sea Dragons, but the problem with that is the Seattle Sea Dragons, Seattle is very far away. That city is very far away from all these other teams, so I think that's why they don't want to bring back that team. Okay, is it going to be USFL and XFL conference again? I assume it's not, because they got in 3 new teams. I think it's going to be North and South again. It should be North and South. Or there are not any conferences anymore. Or divisions. I don't mind if there isn't any divisions anymore. Because all the teams have to play all the teams anyways. It's a 10-week regular season. We don't need semifinals. Just put the 2 best teams in the championship. I don't know. Because if that were to happen last year, I think St. Louis Battlehawks would be in the championship game at their own stadium. You know? Okay, let's see here. I'm on their Wikipedia, so I'm just kind of scrolling down here. Sorry, I sneezed, so that's why I muted my microphone. Let's see here. Oh, Curtis Johnson got fired as the Houston Roughnecks coach. So now they got Kevin Sumlin. Wait a second. I'm looking at him. What? This is the former Texas A&M coach. I remember this guy. What? Huh. Well, that's awesome. Right? Yeah. This guy was the A&M head coach from 2012 to 2017. I remember he was the coach back then. Well, okay. It's good to see him back. I was just never familiar with his name, but I just remember he used to be the Texas A&M coach. Bob Stoops. He's retired now, but he was the longtime Oklahoma University coach. Yeah, let's see here. Oh, look, they brought in Rick Neuheisel. Rick Neuheisel from CBS Sports, the college football show on CBS Sports. Well, that's awesome. Well-known guy. Okay, so let's see here. Wow, Rick Neuheisel. I guess he'll still be with CBS Sports because it's not gonna, college football is not gonna be until September, late August. Okay, so the Skip Holtz, AJ McCarron. Holtz, the winningest coach in UFL history, with 3 league championships and a 39-8 record in 4 years as coach of the Stallions, announced that he would not be returning as the Stallions head coach on December 16, 2025, a move that Holtz stated was not retiring and a pause while he pursued other opportunities. Holtz's father, Lou Holtz, entered end-of-life care shortly after the announcement, prompting the younger Holtz to devote much of his time to the elder's care. The elder Holtz eventually died March 4, 2026. Yeah, I do know about that. I think I mentioned that in a previous episode of KSN, so rest in peace to the great Lou Holtz. McCarron was most recently the starting quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks in the 2023 and 2024 seasons. He had spent 2025 out of football after an attempt to sign with the San Antonio Brahmas was nixed by the Brahmas general manager. At the time of his acceptance of the Stallions position, he had been the front-runner candidate in the Lieutenant Governor of Alabama race for 2026. McCarron withdrew his candidacy the day after Holtz's exit and was formally announced as the coach the day after that. His experience as a coach and theretofore been limited to youth-level flag football. And I heard that flag football has kind of become popular in a way. And remember, there's going to be flag football in the next Summer Olympics. Okay, here are the rule changes. Okay, it says on February 24, 2026, the UFL announced a series of rule changes for 2026 meant to, quote, turbocharge offenses and increase player safety. The changes include the following. Standard play, a coin toss will be used before the start of the game and, if necessary, overtime, with the visiting team making the call and the winner making the choice to receive, kickoff, defend, goal, or defer to the second half. The UFL and before it, the XFL had previously given all privileges of what a coin toss winner would receive to the home team as a home field advantage, replacing the original XFL's ill-fated opening scramble. Only 1 foot will be required to land in bounds for a forward pass to be deemed complete. I like that. I like that more than the 2 feet in bounds, because like in the NFL, you make an amazing catch, but you only have 1 foot in bounds. Like, really? Really? I think CFL you need 2 feet in. Sometimes I forget. I know in college you need 1 foot in. This restores the XFL standard, which Daryl Johnston had vigorously opposed before his dismissal. Oh yeah, what happened to Daryl Johnston? Let me look him up right now. He used to be an announcer on Fox, right? I remember he used to be with Kenny Albert, NFL games on Fox. Let's see here. In 2020, XFL served as the executive vice president of football operations for the revived incarnation of the USFL for its inaugural season, and its president of the USFL's second season, and returning to the executive vice president role when the USFL merged with the XFL to form the United Football League, and remaining there for its first 2 seasons as merged league. Oh, okay then. Yeah, when Mike Rapoli took over, he made a lot of changes, but I do like the sound of these new changes here. Okay, let's go back to the rules. The tush push, defined by the UFL as, quote, a play in which after the quarterback takes the snap, he immediately drives forward as the offensive line surges and is assisted by additional players behind him who physically push him forward into surging offensive line is prohibited. No tush push. I know some people don't like that. What are my thoughts on the tush push? I don't really mind it. It doesn't really bother me. But hey, the UFL, they want to be different from the NFL. So that's great. They're not copying the NFL. They're making their own rules, which is really cool. And then it says the UFL will return to the standard used in all other levels of the game that limits the distance of a penalty to no more than half the distance to the goal. Okay, interesting. Kickoffs. A minor adjustment to the dynamic kickoff will move each team's line 5 yards towards the kicker. This means that the kicking team's lineup will move from the receiving team's 40-yard line to the 45, with the kicker at their own 30, while the receiving team must have at least 9 players lined up between their 35 and 40-yard lines, previously their 30 and 35-yard lines. Okay. That's not much of a difference, I don't think. If a ball is kicked into the end zone and results in a touchback, the ball will be placed at the receiving team's 40-yard line as a consequence. Wow, 40-yard line, wow. If a kick lands within receiving zone between the receiving team's goal line and 20-yard line, but travels into the end zone without a return, the ball will be placed at the receiving team's 20-yard line, previously 35-yard line. Okay. Punts. Teams on offense will be forbidden from punting if they cross midfield, except after a 2-minute warning. They will only be permitted to punt if the scrimmage line is at or on their side of the 50-yard line. All right. The punt prohibition will stand even if the offense loses ground after crossing midfield, meaning the team cannot take intentional penalties, sacks, or kneels to become eligible to punt, and must attempt to achieve the first down or attempt a 4-point field goal by place kick or drop kick. Okay. And then it goes to scoring. Midfield will now serve as a 4-point line for field goal attempt. That's the biggest change, I think. With any field goal of 60 or more yards earning 4 points instead of 3. You know why? I think I know why they added this, because there's a lot of kickers out there that can kick them that far. In the old days, it wasn't like that. It's amazing that these kickers can kick it that far. Made directly at Repol's behest, this rule is a revival and modification of ones used by NFL Europe, which had awarded 4 points to field goals of 50 or more yards. Okay. After a touchdown, offenses will have an option to kick an extra point. So you can kick an extra point now. Okay. With the 33-yard distance for such kick attempts matching the NFL standard, teams will also have an option to run a play from the 2-yard line for a 2-point conversion, or run a play from the 8-yard line for the 3-point conversion. The new 1 and 2 point options match the equivalents used in the NFL. Previously, the UFL did not permit kicks for 1 point, and teams were required to run or pass from the 2, 5, or 10-yard lines for the 1, 2, or 3 points respectively. This reverts to the USFL rule. The previous UFL rule had been inherited from the XFL. Okay. Overtime will retain a shootout format with run or pass plays still at the 5-yard line. That, I'm not really a fan of that. I'm not really a fan of that overtime rule. I don't know, that's a little weird. I prefer overtime if they just, it's like starting a new game, basically. Like the NFL playoffs. That might become a thing if the UFL is popular. But other than that, I like pretty much everything else. This is really cool. I think UFL is going to be more entertaining than ever. Yep. Football's back. Football is already back. You only have to wait a month and a half. Not even 2 months. No need to wait until September. If you're waiting until September, you are missing some very interesting football games. Okay, regular season. The UFL will continue to follow its model of 10-week regular season, but move to a 2-conference structure of 4 teams each to a single table standing formats featuring all 8 teams. Oh, no divisions or no conferences anymore? They're all together? How the scheduling will play out without conferences or divisions has yet to be determined. Okay. As the scheduling formula used by all of the 8-team spring leagues of the 21st century have all relied on 2 4-team divisions to ensure an even schedule of playing each division rival home and away and other division teams once. In a late 2025 interview, Rapoport indicated that the season would likely run from the weekend of March 1 through the end of June. This would have been 4 weeks earlier than the previous years and closer to XFL's post-Super Bowl window. Yeah, back then, XFL, they would begin their season the weekend after the Super Bowl. I liked it like that because I was ready for it. I was ready for the XFL. Although this year, I'm glad it didn't start that soon because the Winter Olympics was the thing after the Super Bowl and then the World Baseball Classic. Then it says Rapoport reversed this and stated that the season would again start on the last Friday of March, as the previous 2 seasons had in March 28 and 2025, but that a move to the post-Super Bowl window was being considered for 2027. Oh, so it's a possibility that next season the UFL will start the weekend after the Super Bowl. I heard that next year's Super Bowl will be on Valentine's Day. Now that's going to be kind of weird. Not for me, because Valentine's is not for me, but because I'm single. Anyways. Postseason. The top 4 teams in the UFL standings will be seeded in order for record of the league semifinals, with winners advancing to the 2026 UFL Championship game. Okay, so I like it like this. I do. So no conferences. They're all together. The top 4 teams advance. This is like the old version of the college football playoffs. Seeded 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, okay. You know what? I think I'm going to enjoy this year's UFL season more than last year's. So yeah, I'll eventually watch games, if not highlights, so I can catch up on what I missed. Wow, this episode's already 2 hours. I'm not surprised because there's just so much to talk about. Next, March Madness. Oh boy, March freaking Madness. March Madness. So March Madness ended, and I didn't watch much because of the Classic Super Sluggers tournament. Let me take a drink of water here. And I gotta be honest, I also did not really check my brackets, so I guess I'll do that now. So I made 2 brackets. The first one I originally had Duke winning it all. And if I can find it. And you know how when the Sweet 16 began, they had that second chance. They had the second chance bracket. Here we go, view bracket. Yeah, I had Duke and Florida winning it. And during the second chance bracket for the Sweet 16 and beyond, I had Arizona winning it. It turns out I was all wrong. Okay, most picked champions, Duke. Duke was the most picked champion. Okay, so if I can go back to where I was. So there were some crazy endings in March Madness this year. There were some crazy endings. Such as, if I can go to some here. Let's see here. The team that I was rooting for was Arkansas, because that's where my father went to for college, and they had coach John Calipari. John Calipari used to be the Kentucky head coach for many seasons. I was surprised that last year's champions Florida got eliminated by your favorite team, Teixeira, Iowa. And my goodness, Florida crushed Prairie View A&M 114 to 55. 114 to 55. That's crazy. And Patrick McEnroe said these Cinderella teams are no more, meaning you're not going to see a small team in like the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. And I think he's right. It's not really like that anymore in recent years because of the NIL money and all that transfer portal stuff. I don't mind that, because last year we had the 4 best teams. All 4 number 1 seeded teams were in the Final Four. So that makes it very, very exciting, because, wow, we get to see the 4 best teams go at it, which is very unusual in men's college basketball. In women's college basketball, that's a lot more common, and that happened again this year. Okay. Let's see here. How about that Santa Clara versus Kentucky? it went into the overtime, but at the end of regulation was crazy. I saw the video of that. And yeah, I did a live stream on Friday, March the 20th, of me watching March Madness games, because there were 4 games on at the exact same time on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. But unfortunately, the stream got blocked because I think I was showing too much of my big TV screen. Normally I would show like half at most, or a little more than a quarter of my TV. So the stream got interrupted, and it got removed. So that was the first time that actually happened on this channel. A stream got removed. So I did another one for the championship game, but it was during the second half only. Let me see if that's still on here. Is that still on here? Did that stream get removed? Because I did not check, honestly, ever since I ended. I'm pretty sure it's still there, because I was being more careful this time. I showed less of my TV screen. Yep, it's still on there. Okay. And I did a short of me explaining what happened. And 5Ter, if you're still listening, that's amazing of you. I don't know if you're gonna listen to all this in one day, but you probably are. I don't know, even though it's a Saturday, because Saturday is always the biggest sports day of the week. I did a short of me talking about this problem that, hey, my stream got removed. I saw that you commented on it, but because I got a notification from you, but when I tap on it, it's not there. That means you deleted it. Can you tell me why you deleted it? So that was kind of strange, you know. Okay, so how about that Vanderbilt Nebraska ending? That was crazy. That was crazy. The Vanderbilt, they went for the game-winning three-pointer, and it almost went in. It almost went in. As Jim Nantz says, oh, it almost went in. Remember the 2010 championship ending between Duke and Butler? Yeah, they showed that footage because it reminded us of that ending. So, yeah. And wow, Iowa, they beat Florida by 1 point. Yeah, the Vanderbilt-Nebraska game, I saw that live, actually, because this was before the Classic Super Sluggers tournament at the time. And Sunday, March 22nd, I was at Main Event Entertainment, so I didn't get to see any of the games, only the scores. Iowa State crushed Kentucky. See, Kentucky, they're not as good as what they used to be. I guess pretty much ever since John Calipari left. Okay, so that was the second round. Let's move on to the Sweet 16. Sweet 16. Arkansas, they went to the Sweet 16, which is actually pretty good for them. Tough region, tough bracket. They lost to Arizona 109-88. Texas, they went to the Sweet 16, the 11 seeded. They had to be in the play-in. But you know, it's Texas. Texas is a big-time university. They lost to Purdue only by 2 points. And how about Illinois beating Houston 65-55. And this was actually pretty embarrassing for Houston because the game was in Houston. Yeah. This team was in last year's national championship game, correct? Yeah. And how about this 5-tear? We had Iowa against Nebraska. Big time rivalry in March Madness. In the Sweet 16. St. John's versus Duke was a big one. Some people had St. John's winning it, but Duke was able to pull that one off. Michigan State versus UConn, that was a big one. And that was a close game. I had a feeling that was going to be a close game. And then the Elite Eight, Arizona just looked amazing. And then Iowa against Illinois, another Big Ten showdown. Big Ten taking over sports, it seems like. Michigan crushed Tennessee 95-62. And how about that UConn-Duke ending? Wow. What an ending. And Ian Eagle on the call. March means drama. It sure does. It sure does. Yeah, what a crazy ending. And then into the Final Four. The Final Four in Indianapolis. UConn beat Illinois 71-62. It's like, wow, UConn just refuses to lose. In the second game, the two number 1 seeds, everyone's like, oh, this is going to be a fantastic game. The winner of this game is going to win the championship. Michigan beat Arizona 91-73. Wow. Did anyone saw that coming? Did anyone saw that coming? I sure didn't. Yeah. I sure didn't. Wow. So when I found out the score, I'm like, okay, Michigan's going to win this thing. Michigan's going to win the championship. And they did. They beat UConn. Pretty close game. UConn, they put up a pretty good fight, but it was pretty much all Michigan. So, congratulations to Michigan on winning the 2026 Men's College Basketball Championship. First time in 37 years. It's quite a long time. So yeah. I mean, I know I'm not a basketball fan, but it's always interesting to see which team wins March Madness because it's like the biggest tournament in American sports, it seems like. Now, for the women's college basketball, I actually watched the South Carolina against UConn game. I actually did. Early Friday evening. And after the game, there was an intense moment between the two coaches. Like, wow, this is really a rivalry between South Carolina and UConn. And I said to myself, okay, I think the winner of this game is going to win the championship game. Well, that did not happen. So South Carolina beat UConn. UConn they had an undefeated season. So their perfect season came to an end. UConn awaits the winner of the second game. UCLA against Texas. UCLA won, so the game was South Carolina against UCLA on Easter Sunday. I wasn't able to watch that game because it was on Easter Sunday. But UCLA won easily. I'm like, wow. And I heard that this was their first time winning it. UCLA women's basketball. Congratulations to them. But my question is, I've noticed they would have the women's Final Four on Friday. Saturday, the men's Final Four. And then Sunday would be the women's championship. Why Sunday afternoon? Why not Sunday night? Why can't they have the women's championship on Sunday night? And of course, the men's championship is on Monday night. I find that kind of weird too, that the men's championship game is on a Monday night. Kind of like the college football national championship game. That's always on a Monday night as well. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, I believe that's it for March Madness. Yeah, it goes by pretty fast, even though it's all these games, because it's, recaps, or excuse me, one game at a time. All right. Wow, over 2 hours, 30 minutes. This might be the longest episode ever. How long? Episode 100. How long was that? That was over 3 hours, right? Let me look that up right now. I'm really glad I'm doing this on a Saturday now because I have all the time. So episode 100 was 3 hours and 20 minutes. Okay, that was the longest episode. Yeah, that was where I invited you, 5-Tayer, special episode where we recap 2025 sports calendar year. So, yeah, I would like to do a call with you maybe later this month. And we can talk about what we liked in sports so far. So, yeah, I think that'll be cool. Last episode I had T-Bone on, who is the MVP of Eric Super Magnificent. So yeah, I would also like to do a call with both of y'all. All three of us. Yeah. Talking sports. But man, if you're still listening to this, thank you so much. I'm getting kind of tired. I'm also getting kind of hungry. I haven't eaten in 5 hours. Alright, let's move on here. Okay, so I do have some clips. If you're familiar with my friends on my main channel, well, most of my friends, they don't talk about sports. They don't really watch sports in general. But this one friend of mine, he sort of does. And he was actually featured in a KSN episode. His name is Hamza. Yeah. Sometimes we talk about sports, which is really cool because he's really like my only real life friend that watches sports sometimes. So he came over here on March the 22nd. So a couple of weeks ago. And he's actually going to come over again tomorrow. So we'll probably going to talk more sports. I'm going to save that for Monday's episode because this episode's already 2 hours, over 2.5 hours. So that way, because remember, I'm going to be back on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every 2 days. Starting today. Alright. So yeah. But I know I wanted to talk about all of this stuff in this episode because if I don't, then wow, I'm really, really late talking about this stuff. So yeah, I'll save those clips on Monday's episode. Alright, so therefore, Time to get into the birthdays. Time to get into the birthdays, finally. So how many birthdays we have? We have... In case if you forgot, I would do happy belated birthday, today's birthday, and tomorrow's birthday. Happy early birthday. Well, I guess I don't have to do happy early birthday because I can do the happy early birthday as happy belated birthday on Monday's episode because tomorrow's Sunday and I'll be back on Monday again, so the Sunday birthdays will be belated birthday. Okay, we'll do it like that because I'm pretty sure the next episode will be shorter than this episode. So I'm only going to do belated birthday and today's birthday. So April 10th and 11th's birthday. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For April the 12th, Sunday's birthdays, I only found 2. So 8 birthdays. Let's get into them. Plus, I'm running out of storage. So let's go. Happy belated birthday. First, let me get the text ready. Happy belated birthday to, first, Andre Ethier. Okay, so Andre Ethier. It's funny because I remember this player. I remember his name until I remember this player and his name. I didn't thought about this guy until I saw his name on the list because I'm going by famousbirthdays.com. All right, so he's 44. MLB right fielder who was named back-to-back National League All-Star teams for the LA Dodgers in 2010 and 11. He helped the Dodgers reach the World Series in 2017. Before fame, he was named the MVP of the Chandler Gilbert Community College baseball team in 2001 after transferring from Arizona State University. Trivia: he had one of his best defensive seasons in 2011 when he won his first Gold Glove award. Family life: he married former gymnast Maggie Germain in 2006. The couple had 2 children together. Associated with, he was joined by fellow slugger Adrian Gonzalez on the Dodgers in 2012. And I remember Adrian Gonzalez. He was known as Gonzo. So, yeah. I mean, there's just so many baseball players to know, man. It's hard to know so many players. Especially when you follow other sports. But if you only follow one sport, you can know a lot of players. Next is another baseball player. Wait. Andre Ethier. When did he retire? (2017), and that was the season the LA Dodgers were in the World Series. Okay. All right, next we have Jake Berger. I'm pretty sure he's an active player because he's only just turned 30. Professional third baseman that was originally drafted by the Chicago White Sox during the first round of the 2017 Major League Draft. Prior to being drafted, he played college baseball at Missouri State University, was named the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year in 2017. Before fame, he initially began his professional career playing for the AZL White Sox rookie affiliate team. He was later sent to the Kannapolis Intimidators. Okay, trivia. He made his official Major League debut playing for the Detroit Tigers on July 2nd, 2021. He finished his debut going 2 for 4. Okay. Family life. He was born to two former collegiate athletes in St. Louis, Missouri. Associated with, he collected his first MLB hit facing Erasmo Ramirez during his debut. So is he still with the White Sox? No, he's with the Texas Rangers. He joined them last year. Oh, and he was with the Miami Marlins in 2023. Okay. All right, up next we have former NASCAR driver, I think, Kasey Kahne. Here's another, just like Andre Ethier. I remember him, but I just completely forgot about him until I saw his name on the list. When I saw his name on the list, I'm like, oh, I remember him. Because it's hard to remember all these guys, you know? NASCAR driver who was named the 2004 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Rookie of the Year. Before fame, after only 3 years of driving, he moved to the Midwest to pursue sprint car racing. Okay. Trivia, he won the 2008 NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. Family life, the son of Kelly and Tammy Kahne. He was also the brother of Callie Kahne and Shannon Adams. He began dating Samantha Sheets in 2014. They welcomed the son Tanner in 2015. Associated with his first Daytona 500 race was in 2004, which Dale Earnhardt Jr. won. Yeah, see, back then I used to watch NASCAR. They had guys like Kasey Kahne, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. Those are my favorite ones, you know. Let's see, what is Kasey Kahne doing now? He was also in professional dirt track racing. That's really cool. Yeah, I don't think he's racing much anymore because he's, you know, getting older. All right. Next. Tennis player. I like saying this guy's name. Thanasi Kokkinakis. Thanasi. The Australian player. He competed in the 2014 Australian Open and reached the junior finals of the 2013 Australian Open and U.S. Open. Oh, I did not know that because I don't watch junior tennis. It's like in WWE they have NXT, the developmental territory, which is like the new upcoming stars. It's like that in tennis, the juniors. In 2022, he recorded his first major win over Kamil Machukrak. I can't pronounce his name, that last person's name. It occurred at the Wimbledon Championships. Before fame, he began his pro career at age 14 with Australia F3. Trivia, he represented Australia at the Davis Cup 2014. He has earned a large following on his Twitter account where he posts tennis content. Family life, he was born in Adelaide, Australia. Associated with, he lost to Rafael Nadal in the second round of the 2014 Australian Open. I'm kind of surprised I did not mention this, but in 2022, Thanasi Kokkinakis and Nick Kyrgios. They both won the 2022 Australian Open men's doubles tournament. I remember that. The crowd was crazy, going crazy, because they're both Australians, and it's in Australia, you know. All right. All right, next. Last one for happy belated birthday. And that is another baseball legend, Ken Griffey Sr. That's right. Ken Griffey Sr. Three-time All-Star who won 2 World Series titles with the Cincinnati Reds. He played with the Atlanta Braves from 1986 to 1988. He has a batting average of .296. Before fame, he made his debut with the Cincinnati Reds at the age of 22. Trivia: he and his son became one of the MLB's first father-son tandems after playing together for the Seattle Mariners. Isn't that crazy? That's only happened. That's like the only time that's ever happened. Family life: he had 2 sons with his wife Alberta. Associated with his son Ken Griffey Jr., hit over 600 home runs in his productive MLB career. Yeah, man, that's crazy. It's like Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr. I like that. Father, like son, as they say, you know. Both pursuing their dreams. Alright, now to today's birthdays. So we got 3 more. This is another... Excuse me. Another former baseball player. A lot of baseball talk in this episode, because it makes sense, right, during this time of the year. Mark Teixeira. Star switch hitting first baseman who spent the first 5 years of his career with the Texas Rangers. He had brief stints with the Braves and Angels before joining the New York Yankees in 2009. He retired from professional baseball in 2016. Before fame, he chose to go to Georgia Tech over playing in the big leagues right away. Trivia: he set an all-time MLB record for most games with a home run from both sides of the plate. Family life: he married Leigh Williams in 2002. He and his wife set up a charitable foundation that provides sports scholarships. He has 2 sons, Jack and William, and a daughter, Addison. Associated with, he became the 5th MLB player after Joe DiMaggio and 3 others to hit at least 100 home runs in the first of their 3 seasons. Wow. Did he also become an announcer? I'm just wondering. I'm gonna look him up real quick. Yeah, I remember when he was playing for the Yankees. Oh, coaching career. He served as the hitting coach for the National League team in the 2024 All-Stars Futures game. Okay, let's see, outside of baseball. Okay, here we go. In 2017, he joined ESPN as a baseball analyst. In mid-December 2020, he announced that he would be leaving the company next year on February 28, 2021. Okay, so he was an announcer for a couple of years. Okay. Another one. All right, next birthday. Another baseball player, which I don't know if he's still playing or not. And that is Kenta Maeda. Kenta Maeda, excuse me. Japanese player. From Osaka, Japan. Japanese professional pitcher who signed in incentive Latin 8-year contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2016. He helped the Dodgers reach the 2017 World Series. Before fame, he spent the first 8 years of his baseball career with the Hiroshima Carp of the Nippon Professional Baseball, where he won the how do you pronounce this? Eiji Sawaruma Award. Trivia: he played for Japan at the 2013. He played for Japan at the 2013 World Baseball Classic, and was named to the all tournament team. He was a 5-time All-Star in Japan. Family life: he married Saho Narushima in 2012 and has his sister associated with. He was brought in to shore up the Dodgers' rotation behind ace Clayton Kershaw. See, this is how I remember this player, because years ago I watched old World Baseball Classic games, and he was their starting pitcher for Team Japan. Let's see, how is he doing now? He was with the Dodgers from 2016 to 2019. Then he was with the Minnesota Twins from 2020 to 2021, and then again in 2023. And then with the Detroit Tigers in 2024 and 2025. So now he's back with the Nippon Professional Baseball. He signed a 2-year contract with the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. Wait, what? Wait, 5-tier, did you know there's a Iowa Cubs minor league baseball team? I guess, do you know about that? I assume you do. But I'm saying this because Kenta Maeda was with the Iowa Cubs, the minor league team. Huh. Where in Iowa is the Iowa Cubs? Oh, Des Moines, Iowa. Okay. That's actually kind of funny. Yeah, because I guess Chicago Cubs are the closest team to the state of Iowa. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, 5-tier, congratulations on going to your minor league baseball team's game on Easter Sunday. Okay, one more birthday, and after this, I have some special news I want to say at the end of this episode. Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, also known as Gold Dust when he was with the WWE. Okay, birthplace Austin, Texas. He became an extremely popular wrestler in the WWE. His numerous championships include multiple WWF Hardcore titles and Intercontinental Championships. Before fame, he made his wrestling debut in 1988 before being signed to the WWF in 1990. Trivia: his signature moves include the clothesline, DDT, and bionic elbow. Family life: he had a daughter, Dakota, with Terry Runnels, whom he was married to from 1993 to 1999. He was briefly married Melina Martelloni from 2002 to 2003. Do you hear that sound? You turn up your volume. Sounds like a bird. There's birds chirping. Uh-oh. In June 2012, he married third wife, Tyrell Mary Roche. He is the son of former wrestler Dustin Rhodes, and his brother is Cody Rhodes. Associated with, he was tag team partners with Booker T. So yeah, Dusty Rhodes, one of the all-time legendary wrestlers. He is the father of both, or he was the father, because he passed away. He was the father of Dusty and Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes is one of WWE's big-time stars. I kind of wish Dustin Rhodes was in today's WWE so he can be in a storyline with his brother Cody. But yeah, I remember because I would watch that old WWE, old wrestling. I started that era. I would watch the Monday Night Wars era in September of 2022. So I picked September of 1995. A couple of months later, that's when Dustin Rhodes debuted as his Gold Dust bizarre character. Yeah. And that's his most well-known character, Gold Dust. And I think he's in AEW, or he was in AEW. I don't really follow AEW. Although I kind of was watching AEW because it was after March Madness went off the air on TNT. They would have that late night Saturday show. Okay, guys, so that is it. And wow, almost 3 hours, so I might as well save this. Last thing I want to say. So, Ethier, you just went to a minor league baseball game, which is awesome. Well, I'm going to the final minor league hockey team in my city of the season. Yep, tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the team's last game of the regular season. And I did that last year's final game of the season. I'm doing it again. So, yeah, on my main channel, I did 2 vlogs there, and I guess I'll do another one. And we're going to sit behind the glass. Perhaps the best seats in the entire arena, so that'll be awesome. And yeah, I'll record there and do another vlog there, and I don't know when I'll release it, but it'll be on Eric's Your Magnificent. Yeah, it's their final game of the regular season, and unfortunately they're not going to make the playoffs. They came in I checked the standings, they came in 3rd to last place. And you know what's cool is that their games are broadcasted on YouTube. Now, for you, Ethier, does your minor league baseball team, do they do broadcasts on YouTube or no? So, if you listen to all this, thank you very much to you, Ethier, the MVP of this channel, and anyone else. 3-hour episode. Wow. Okay. I'll be back on Monday, hopefully. Or I'll talk whatever comes to my mind, I guess. So, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be able to watch much sports this weekend because I'm going out tonight for the hockey game. Tomorrow, I got friends coming over for games. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to watch much sports this weekend, so I guess that means the next episode of KSN will be a very much shorter episode, but that's okay. Might as well play this outro music one last time with Classic Super Sluggers. Wow, what an episode, folks. This is what happens when you don't talk, when you don't do an episode or watch sports for weeks. I made it up to you guys. Hopefully I did well. See ya. Have a good weekend. Time to finally go to sleep. This has been KSN.